Good morning or afternoon, whatever time of the day it is that you're watching this. Welcome back to the NFSB Indigenous podcast. Today, I've decided, since I've been in the midst of teaching my History of the Haudenosaunee Confederacy course at the Nova Career Center, that I would kind of just talk a little bit about one of our stories for the Confederacy. So, for those of you who are not sure what I mean when I say the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, the Kanien'kehá:ka people, that's the people who are from Kahnawake, we are a part of the Iroquois Confederacy. Now, Iroquois is a name that was given to us, and I actually have some really interesting translations that I found from when I was teaching my class, which I'll put in another video. But what we refer to ourselves as is the Haudenosaunee, which is comes from the different languages of the Six Nations, and it translates to the extended longhouse. So it's the idea that all the longhouse is occupied by all the nations together. Um, and so the story that I kind of wanted to hone in on a little bit today, which one that I think is really interesting, is the story of the Peacemaker. Now, I've been working on teaching my class about the Great Law of Peace and the major pillars that kind of exist within that. And we've had conversations around ethics and how those determine our decisions and things like that. So, and what I did is I showed them a very short, 45 minutes, but that's a shortened version of the 2 hour long one. It's a one of those Discovery PBS sort of live action dramatizations of the story of the Peacemaker. And I think it's really well done for the purposes of understanding the dramatics of the story. So in this video, I'm going to put the link down in the comment section. So I just kind of wanted to tell a little bit about the parts that interest me the most about the Peacemaker, and then I encourage you to go watch the movie. So just move for a second here. I keep changing my backgrounds because I'm not really sure where the best lighting is yet. So the Peacemaker is actually, he's not part of the Haudenosaunee Confederacy. He was actually a young Huron man, but he was given the message that he needed to come to see the warring nations who now are the Haudenosaunee Confederacy and kind of bring peace among them and offer them the message of peace. And so, because at that point there was a lot of war going on, and the Confederacy, the people, the nations, the Oneida, Onondaga, Seneca, Mohawk, Cayuga, they were all fighting one another, and to a detrimental amount of death. And so Hiawatha, who was part of the Onondaga Nation, who was actually a Mohawk who ended up being captured and raised by the Onondaga, he was, really upset with a lot of the death that was happening. Oh, and I forgot. Taradarho. Taradarho was this supernatural, war chief that exists in the Onondaga, and a lot of the bad things were his doing. And so in an effort with Hiawatha and some of the other people from the Onondaga Nation, they wanted to overthrow Taradarho, but his supernatural abilities stopped them and ended up killing most of the people in the village, including Hiawatha's daughter. And that really upset him, and he left the community. And when he left, he went out towards Lake Ontario. And when he got there, he was really upset. And then I come across from the water came this man in a boat, and it was the Peacemaker. And the Peacemaker, he brought this message to Hiawatha, and he was like, listen, I have all of these ideas about how to bring the people together, and how to stop this war that's happening. And so Hiawatha and the Peacemaker began visiting the different nations and brought them together to overthrow Taradarho, and then they became the Haudenosaunee Confederacy. That's just the beginning. So, and I know I wanted to keep this to kind of a 5 minutes at a time. So that's the very shortened version of what happened to get the Confederacy together. So in the next episode, I'm going to share a little bit of a story about some of the challenges that the Peacemaker had in encountering these nations, because people don't often trust someone who just comes out of nowhere and says, hey, I have a message for you. Okay, so stay tuned for that next episode. Now go.